Hi there, dear friends. This is Bob Hatton. This is the Encourager. During these days, we are having a look at Easter and what happened on that very first Easter Sunday. Jesus Christ, Jesus of Nazareth, was raised from the dead. And this is a very exciting story, and this is a key story for our Christian life. If Christ is not resurrected, has not been resurrected, then our faith is in vain. Give up, stop it, don't believe anything if Jesus is not being resurrected from the dead. Now, just to recap, I told you this now a number of times, what happened on that very first Easter morning, very early, just as the sun was getting up. Some women went down to the cemetery. Among them was also this lady called Mary Magdalene. And when they got to the cemetery, they found out that the stone was rolled away from the grave, and the body of Jesus was missing. Mary, she returned then to Jerusalem. She returned to the place where they'd been staying. She told Peter and she told John what she'd experienced, and they came down to the cemetery to have a look, and they convinced themselves as well the body of Jesus has gone. Now, when they left, Mary entered the sepulchre, they entered the tomb and had a meeting with these two angels, but Jesus wasn't there. And she was very upset about this, and she kept asking, do you know where they have put my Lord? Please tell me where I can find his body. She then leaves the tomb, and as she's leaving the tomb, I guess I'm wondering whether the sun was in her eyes, and maybe her eyes were filled with tears. But she sees a man who's not very far away from the tomb, and she supposes him to be the gardener. So she thinks, the gardener knows everything about what's going on there. So she approaches him, not recognizing who he is, and said, "Sir, could you please tell me, do you know where they have put the body of my Lord?" And this man looks at her, and Mary doesn't recognize him. It doesn't neither recognizes his features in his face nor his stature. But he speaks to her, and he just speaks out her name and says, "Mary." And when Mary hears it, there's something about the intonation of his voice or the way he pronounces it, his Galilean accent or something. But she recognizes his voice. And when she hears him say, "Mary," she says to him, "Rabboni," which means my master. Rabboni, my master. She recognizes this is Jesus. Jesus is alive. Jesus is risen from the dead. And she now knows this because she has heard his voice. Shortly before this time, Jesus did some teaching. We can read this in John chapter 10. And he says, "I am the good shepherd. I know my sheep. I call my sheep by name. My sheep hear my voice, and they follow me. My sheep hear my voice. They understand my voice. They know what my voice sounds like, and they follow me." And one of the things that we need to know and we need to understand as Christians is that we can hear the voice of God. We don't get to see him at the moment. We don't get to feel him at the moment. That's what the first Christians did. John, the Apostle John, in 1 John chapter 1, and starting from verse 1, he says, "That which was from the beginning, that's which we saw, that's what we looked at, that what we felt, the word of life." That's what we're talking about. He was reminding me, he says, "Hey, I'm an eyewitness of what happened in those days. I was able to touch Jesus. I was able to look into his eyes." We can't do that now. Peter writes in chapter 1 of his first letter, and I think from verse 8, he says, we don't see him, and you've never seen him, but you believe in him, and you rejoice with unexpressible words of joy. It's so wonderful. We have this conviction. We don't see him. We don't feel him anymore, but we can hear his voice. My sheep hear my voice. And one of the things that I discovered over the last 50 years of following Jesus, that our God, the Christian God, is a God who speaks. He's got something to say to us. And it's important that we listen, that we learn how to listen. listen. Our God is a God who communicates. He's got something to say to us. And that was right at the very beginning when God created man. He said he created him, he blessed him, and then he spoke to him. He said, and he gave him something to do. Our God is a God who speaks to us again and again and again. What we need to know is that our God speaks and we can listen to his voice. I hope you have a good day. God bless you. I'll see you again on Monday. Your Bob Hatton, your encourager.